Hey, what's up YouTube? Down the smartphone guy coming back at you with another video, and today I want to take a look at this fitness bracelet. This is from a company called Lefit. It is the Lefit Beat Pro, and this is currently available on Amazon for $40. I'll leave a link down in the description if you're interested in picking it up. I would say this is probably most closely related to like the Fitbit Charge HR. So that's what I would say this is the closest relative to. So you can see that it does have some smartwatch features in there. So like right now it's telling me that I have 5 messages of some sort. Now it doesn't differentiate between those very well, but let's go ahead and talk about that in just a little bit. So some of the features that it offers, so we have heart rate monitoring. As you can see, there is a heart rate monitor down there. So we have an optical heart rate sensor. We have some social reminders, as you could see earlier. We have sleep monitoring. We have a call reminder, motion monitoring, and then it does have an app that you can connect it to your device. So I've had it connected to my Android device. I actually tried connecting it to my wife's phone. Now that was on an older version of iOS. She doesn't have iOS 11. It was on like 10.1 or something like that. She hadn't updated it in a little while. But to her iPhone 7, the app kept crashing. So I don't know if that was an issue with the app itself or with her phone or what, but for some reason the app would not get past the login screen on her phone. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that in just a little bit. So that is the case it comes in. I should also show you here that the charging mechanism, basically in the box, you just get the charging micro USB cable there, and then that's going to plug into this guy right here, and then this just rests. Whoops, I dropped it. Anyways, that would rest right there on those pins in order to charge up the watch, so, or the fitness tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side. You do also get some nice color coded instructions here. So the instructions do follow right along with how you use the watch, so that is nice. They're actually clear in good English, so that is not always the case with some of these, so especially with these budget-friendly ones. So $40, like I mentioned, so you can see here, that is the social reminder, and you can turn it to the side, and you can see that it has some Facebook reminders there. But the one thing I'll say is that it's only going to show it to you the first time, so that's something worth mentioning. Now this is going on a day and a half of use off of the battery, so I'll go ahead and so you double tap it to wake it up, or you can lift it to wake it up as well, which I just actually lifted it to turn it off, but we'll double tap again. So there's the time you can see on this picture that I have here. So I have it that it is connected to Bluetooth. It has the battery, of course the time, and then today's date. Happy birthday to me. And then we have steps, so it's what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3,178 steps. Now, if I compare that to the other watch I've been wearing, this is a little bit different watch. So this one says 2,624, where this one says 3,000, what did it say? 3,178. So they're definitely a little off. So I wore one on, actually was wearing this one on my left wrist, this one on my right wrist. So you can see they're a little bit different. This one actually, I think, is more accurate than the other one I'm wearing, and I'll talk about that one in another video. So I actually just got a notification from somebody, so there it is. So somebody just posted a thing on Facebook. That's all that was telling me. All right, so there's a step counter. So I do like the colorful screen. That is nice. There's the distance. So if I compare that to the distance this one says I've traveled 1.83. Now this is in kilometers, whereas this is in miles. So that is one thing I appreciate about this watch, is that at least everything is, you can change it so that it puts everything in the imperial system. Of course, if you live in the United States, that's nice, but you can change it if you want to. So 67 calories burned, and then I've been active for 66 minutes so far today. Obviously, the heart rate sensor at the moment is incorrect, but I would say that so far the heart rate sensor has been dead on. So the other watch I've been comparing it to is the Huawei Watch 2, which has a very, very accurate heart rate sensor, and it's been pretty much dead on with that one. So I would say the heart rate sensor on this one so far seems quite accurate to me. We do have a stopwatch feature here, so basically it's just you touch it. You can see that it only does seconds, and then it'll transfer those up to the top, and then you tap it to stop. That's pretty much all it is, to reset it, I mean. So that's just a play. So it's a very, very basic stopwatch, nothing fancy, and you can pause it. Obviously, you can see that the screen shuts off pretty quick, so you can change that, of course. So then play, that's to stop it. And then you can see that was sleep monitoring, so I got apparently 6.9 hours of sleep last night. You can see that it does allow you to also control your music. Now I actually have this feature shut off, even though it's showing it, I have it shut off. So that's not a feature that I actually wanted to use, but you can do it. I just found that I kept accidentally hitting it and not wanting to do that. And then go into the settings. You can see here it shows the battery life. So 31%, like I said, that's a little over a day and a half of usage off of the battery. So definitely a full day battery. But when you compare that to some other fitness watches in the same category, this is definitely less battery life. You're easily going to get through a day. And this is like, I've been using it, completely, like all the notifications, I've kept everything on. So definitely a day, but probably not 2 days of battery life. So this is a find your phone option. So basically you just tap that, it'll make your phone alert, but I actually shut that off as well. We have a camera control. Again, that's something I have shut off, but you can use this as a shutter for your camera, for your phone, whatever phone it's connected to. So, and then we have a vibration, and then this is to flip the screen, so you can make it so it flips it. So go ahead and flip it. So now, if I go into, so now everything's flipped this way. So this would be if you're wearing it on your left wrist, whereas I had it on my right wrist primarily. So that's why I had it flipped. Now you can actually make it. Now, one thing I will mention, so it does also show the weather. That's another thing I hadn't shown you yet. So it does show the weather as well, but that weather only updates when you sync it with your phone. So I'll show you that real quick. So the app that it supports, this one is called Lefit Beat Pro, and which is actually the name of the watch as well. And let's get rid of that. All right, so go ahead and sync it. And now when I go into the weather, it should, in theory, tell me. So now that's all connected to everything that the watch showed now. But now it should, in theory, tell me the correct weather, which, so there we go. So 25 degrees, and that's, again, it only shows you Celsius, which is weird because everything else will go into miles and feet and all that. But with the weather, it will only show you in Celsius. There's no way to change that. As far as I can tell within the app, there's nowhere to change that. So that was one thing that I found, maybe just a little bit annoying about it. But as far as I can tell, only Celsius is available. So you can see the sleep time. I put my goal as 6 hours, and I got almost 7 hours of sleep last night. I'm not sure what heart rate that's going off of right now, but so you can see this is distance traveled. So yesterday I went for a run. Now, one thing I will mention is that I was wearing my GPS watch. So I was wearing my Huawei Watch 2, which has very good GPS. And this said that at the end of the day, I'd gone 5.5 miles. This at the end of the day said that I had gone almost 7, and that included a 5-mile run. So you can see here, if I go into yesterday, this one says, 5.52 miles, but I actually went for a 5-mile run plus plenty of other, playing baseball with my son. So definitely 5.52 is not accurate. So I would not say that part seems very accurate. The step counter seems it was pretty much dead on with the step counter on this watch. So that part seems very accurate, but the distance, I would say, is not very accurate. So I wouldn't, use this as like a running watch by any means. It's good for step counting. It's good for your heart rate monitoring. And good for like the occasional notification if you want to know, like, let's see real quick what kind of notifications I got. That part is okay, and obviously for the time it's good. But I would not count on it for like going for a run and seeing how far you went. That part I would say is not very accurate. The sleep monitoring I would say also seems quite accurate. I actually wore this along with this watch. They both said 7 hours of sleep, so that is. If they both say the same thing, I'd say that seems pretty accurate. Now let's go ahead and go into some of the features within the app itself, so we can set up some reminders. You can see here that I have obviously not put them in, but we have some daily reminders. We can select what kind of reminding type it gives us, the time and date. So that's just a reminder option that you have available. So if you want to set that up, you can do that in there. You can sync it up with some friends. Now, I don't know of anybody else that has this watch, so obviously I can't connect it that way. So another weakness I would say of the watch that I've noticed is the fact that there's no way to connect it to like Google Fit, or I'm sure it probably will sync with Apple Health, but obviously, like I said, I couldn't get it to actually work in my wife's eye, because originally I was going to give this to my wife to review it, but then it wouldn't work. So you can see here that we have, this is just goal setting. So I set it up for 12,000 steps per day, 60 minutes of, activity, distance of 5 miles, 500 calories burned, and sleep time of 6 hours. So that's just what I set up in it. So you can set up some goals and then kind of track your goals in there. So we have some app settings here. So this is just going to change this is just the settings within the actual app. But then there is the notification, so you can set up what kind of notifications you want it to get. I would recommend probably limiting what kind of notifications you get, because this thing is certainly not the best for smartwatch. So basically you can see I got six notifications, and then I can just kind of swipe through that one. It's only gonna let me basically see the most recent one as far as I can tell. I've not been able to go through and find a way that I can see multiple things on there. So it'll vibrate. You can take a look at it real quick, and that's pretty much the only way I've been able to figure it out. I have not been able to go back into older applications, so that's maybe a little bit of a weakness. Or sorry, older notifications, not applications. And then the last thing, whoops, go back in there. Go into the band settings. So this is, I can change the heart rate to go all day, and you can change your heart rate alarm, so it'll actually alert you if your heart rate goes over a certain amount. Sedentary reminder, we do have night mode, so it doesn't vibrate at night. We have an SOS option. That's for a kid. That's actually built in for kids. So you can see here that it will actually have you call and send SMS to the guardian. So I guess if you click that, it'll actually send them a notification. Now, I'm not sure how it does that, because this has to be connected to a phone via Bluetooth. So I'm assuming you could probably just do the same thing with your phone. But yeah, anyways, that's there. So then we have just a time format that basically just adjusts the way it looks. So you can set it up horizontally or vertically. And let's see here, raise to wake screen, so I had that on. Now that feature does not always work the best, so let's see if I flip it up, if it will actually turn on. So I would say it probably only works, like, for me, maybe like half the time. Now you're supposed to actually like raise, there we go, that time it did work. So you're supposed to kind of like bring it up and down, so that's how you get it to work. But it's kind of not as friendly as some other ones that I've used. So it kind of has to be like this exact motion. And if it's not that, it doesn't work. So, and then units, that's where, whoops, go back in there. So units, you can see here that we can just change it between imperial and metric system. But again, you can't change it between Celsius and Fahrenheit. And then that take photo option, which I said I had turned off. So that's what all this thing has to offer. Is it worth $40? Tough call. I kind of lean towards this is not a watch that I would want to spend $40 on. Now, they did send this out to me for review, so of course I didn't pay anything for it, but is it a decent watch? Yeah. Is this one that I would want to spend $40 on? Would I be happy if I spent $40 on it and got this? Tough call. I'm kind of like 50-50 on that, because I've had $25 ones that I really liked. This one is a $40 one that I'm okay with, but there are definitely some weaknesses of this watch. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Thanks for watching. This has been the Lefit Beat Pro. I'll leave a link down in the description if you're interested in picking it up. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.